everybody, Chuck with Nerdorama Network. We are here live at Northeast Comic-Con Pop Culture Expo, and I'm with the one and only Karen Parsons. Wanted to thank you very much for taking the time to interview us. For those of you who don't know, Karen was Hillary on the great show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, was also one of our favorite comedies, Major Pain. So just want to take a second, Hillary, thank you. I called you Hillary. I apologize, Karen. Thank you very much for joining us at the con. What brought you to Northeast Comic-Con today?
I always wanted to be a part of it. I have never done this con before, and I love coming up to this part of. I'm in Massachusetts a lot, so it seemed like a natural fit.
And of course, we all know you from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's one of the favorite shows of all time. But we're huge Major Pain fans here, so I have to ask you, what was it like to work with Damon Wayans?
Oh God, Damon's crazy.
And what would you say that your favorite moment filming on set was?
We had a moment once. I remember we both were laughing so hard that. And because he makes up stuff. He's a comedian, so he's constantly, he says a joke and he doesn't want to say it again twice. He wants to try a new one. So he would try things and I have to keep a straight face because they'd have me on. But I started making him laugh because he'd see me trying not to laugh. So he made them put a scrim in between the two of us so that we're in the scene together, but you had to separate us because he didn't want us in my face.
Incredible story. And we, of course, loved Hillary on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What would you say your favorite individual storyline for Hillary was over the course of the show?
Gosh, I really liked, there was an episode where she had a job as a caterer and she was ashamed when her friends came in and saw her working because of what she was, how she was used to living and then their perception of her. And the butler, Jeffrey, ends up giving her a real talking to about service and about how there's nothing wrong with service jobs. And I thought that was a really lovely moment and a really important story.
One of the things I loved about the show was it had such a great essence of balancing the humor and real human emotion. There was real stories in this show other than just being a sitcom, which is something that you don't really see nowadays. I mean, looking back on the show and the cult following that it's achieved, what would you say the most thing that you're proud of that this show has put out there?
Oh, well, I think what I'm excited about is I still, to this day, we stopped making the show in 1996. Stopped. So, and when I meet people who say, oh, it was my favorite show and now it's my 5-year-old's favorite show, that to me it's not something we set out to do, but it's something that I'm very proud to be a part of.
Now, in all honesty, we all know the show was big when it was on the air. Did you ever think that it would have this kind of a life this far after the show? I mean, we're 20 years now from 96, and it's still as popular as ever.
No, it's mind-blowing to me. I mean, we were having a blast. We were having so much fun, and I think between great writers, some really talented people, and the fact that there was so much harmony on set and off set, behind the cameras as well. I think that comes through. People feel that. And at the time, it felt like we were just doing it for ourselves. And I didn't feel like people were watching us. So it's kind of amazing all this time later to think, not only were they watching, they're still watching.
Well, just lastly, one of the great things that we love about the show, whether you realize it or not, is that the theme song is actually considered the most recognizable theme song for people under 40. Yeah, true. Try Magazine had created the most recognizable theme song. It takes less than 6 seconds for someone to realize that theme song. So absolutely, we love the show. But if you had to leave us with one thing, where can we find you? How can people get in touch to see what you're doing now?
Oh, well, I have an organization called Sweet Blackberry, so you can find me at sweetblackberry.org. It's a nonprofit organization that brings little-known stories of African-American history to life for kids through animated films.
That is absolutely amazing. We will definitely post the links to that. I just want to thank you very much, Karen, for the chance to interview. We look forward to seeing you at Rhode Island Comic-Con with Alfonso and Tatiana. So thank you very much for joining us. Guys, for Nerdorama, I'm Charles KIWACZ, Karen Parsons. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Hey everybody, Chuck here at Northeast Comic-Con with the one and only Jedi Master himself, Luke Skywalker. Luke, thank you for joining us at the con. What brings you to Massachusetts today? Great words from a wise man. Luke, I have to ask you, what do you think of the con so far? Have you got to meet any of the guests? Strong words from a wise man. Luke, just finally here, we want to know, where can we find you next? Will you be in episode 8? Love it. Can't tell you, tons of insider scoop information here, guys. I don't know where we're going to do all this info. Luke, thank you so much. We will see you in episode 8. Have a great day. Hey everybody, it's Chuck coming to you live from Northeast Comic Con Pop Culture Expo. We are here with the highlight of the con, Rob Bruce himself, the pop culturist, taking a look at some of the best stuff that he's got available and talking to the man himself. Rob, thank you so much for joining us for the con.
What's up, Chuck?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks.
So
here in Indiana.
Indiana, yeah, I forgot. We're coming live from Indiana Con, guys. Love it.
Now, where are we? Northeast Comic Con?
Correct.
Run by Gary Summers.
Great guy.
Was a guy I've known for about 33 years.
Really? I've known Gary probably about 6 or 7 years myself.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've known Gary since he was the manager at the rock club Paradise, which was on Com Ave. I used to be in a band. We used to play at the Ratskeller all the time.
That's incredible. Well, we all know you, of course, from AMC's Comic Book Men, but you are so much more than that.
Some of us know us from the punk rock scene, 1982. Remember me? Got a lot of kids out there. Look me up.
And we absolutely love you on the show, but you are known as a pop culture expert, and we love everything that you do.
Thank you very much. Hey, hello out in Radioland. I consider myself to be a pop culturist, and that's more than just a pop culture expert. I kind of think of pop culture as a sociological experiment, and then I apply that thought to what I do, selling, buying, trading. I'm also, I'm on the show, but I do like 5 to 6 episodes on the show, but I'm also one of the producers, so I work behind the scenes for the full run of the show, and I've actually been working on Comic Book Men since 2011. We're going into our 6th season, and so that's really it. But I mean, knowing Gary, I used to come up here in the 80s and 90s and do the Boston shows. He ran a lot of Boston
Well, we know you from the Comic Book Men show, but I had also heard that AMC had been interested. You guys had originally shot a pilot. Tell us a little bit about that.
We shot a sizzle reel for AMC, and then before we even got to edit it, they killed the unscripted department. I've been offered, 3 other projects, 4 other projects. I'm a contracted talent with AMC. My contracts for 6 was for the initial season and then 5 seasons after that. So I'm at the end of my contract sometime in March. But I'm going to most likely produce another show for another network after this closes and not be on that show. But that's just, I'm kind of working on that in the background. My people know that I'm working on it. It's more or less unrelated. And, that's it. But getting back to the show, I'm actually a native of Red Bank, where the store is. I was born there. I lived in New York City for 20 years. I moved back. I've been friends with the guys at the Stash for 15, 17 years.
Living in Red Bank?
Yeah, well, they were the local comic book store. I had a used vintage record / toy / comic book, used comic book store down on the other side of town. We got to be friends. And then, Brian and I had this thing that went on when I went in. He took over the old Comicology. They turned it into the secret stash. I walked in the second day. Hey, I get a discount. He said, no, you don't. So, I had a feud with them for about 2 or 3 years, which is really, if you've been friends with the guys at the Stash, the best way to do it is start off feuding with them. Because, that's like the iron. And then, tell them Steve Dave, which is about ready to do its 300th episode, and I'll be on that. But when they were in the 25s to 60, I used to sit in there and just heckle them. So you go on the really early Steve Daves, tell them Steve Daves, I'm all over that.
Well, one of the things that we know most is your extensive knowledge of all things pop culture. But if you had to guess who knows more about comics, you or Mike Zapsik?
Rob Bruce knows more about comics, Mike. I know you think you do. But I bought my first comic book in 1969. And I went to my first convention in 1975, and I shook Jack Kirby's hand. And you never shook Jack Kirby's hand, Mike. I shook Jack Kirby's hand. So there.
And
you won't see this, right?
Yeah, I've actually worked for Brian and Ming as their assistant at Boston Cotton Tier before. One of the things that we love on the show is that you seem to know everything about these prices, but what's the one item that's coming to the stash, other than Brian's Frankenstein head, that you had to have for yourself?
What was it? I really wanted, and I didn't get it, and I really wanted the carded Batman nightlights. They finally were bought by some guy in Argentina for $1,200. But my wife said, if you buy those, you're going to sleep in the garage. And my garage is got possums in it. I don't sleep. It's hard enough sleeping with my wife. Could you imagine sleeping with an opossum? They're like marsupials.
And then just lastly, Rob, what's the one item you found?
So we're doing this in a 3-hour marathon.
Oh, trust me, I would kill to sit here and talk to you.
Item, look at my holy grail.
What's the one thing you found at a flea market or a con that you just absolutely stole and couldn't believe that you got for the price you did?
I bought a piece of Andy Warhol artwork for $25. A quarter. I sold it for $2,400. A quarter. Is that crazy or what? Then I bought the best thing I ever bought. Literally, the best thing I ever bought. I bought was a cast iron dinosaur sculpted by Willis O'Brien for the opening of the 1920 silent movie Lost World, which Sir Arthur Conan Doyle attended. I bought that for $20. That went for at Christie's. Sold that for me for $5,200.
That's incredible.
Is that crazy or what, man? I once bought a surfboard for $100 and sold it for $4,000. $100 surfboard. Yeah. So kids, just remember, if you do drugs, do them while you're young. Quit before you get old.
Remember, guys, if it grows in the ground, it's fun. Pills and powders, no good. But thank you very much, guys. Rob Bruce, absolutely wonderful. We love having him at the con. Rob, thank you so much for the interview.
Come on down, kids.
Make sure you follow him on Facebook.
Have a good time. There's clowns and shit. And it's at the Shriners. What are the Shriners, man? They wear fezzes. What's up with that shit?
Thank you so much, Rob. Honestly, it's an honor. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys check out Season 6 of Comic Book Men on AMC and check out Rob Bruce.